zero point 0.0 miles today in the final stages of the taper for the Indianapolis Marathon. Today I took as a rest day. I was originally thinking that I might go out there and run 4 miles, but then the morning kind of got away from me, which you could tell if you watched yesterday's video. I forgot to put my normal kind of end cap on the video, and that usually happens when things kind of get hectic in the morning and I'm running late, and so that's definitely what happened yesterday. So a rest day that coincided well with the taper and also with my morning schedule. But today what I wanted to talk about is kind of the race plan that me and my buddy had talked about over the weekend for the Indianapolis Marathon coming up. The first general part of the plan is we got to get down there, and so I'm a little bit nervous because Fridays, we couldn't go earlier than the day before the race, which is Friday, and then Friday mornings I teach, and this Friday is going to be a me heavy episode. I team teach it, so some weeks are more intense for me than others. This one is going to be an intense one for me, so we can't leave until like noon or 1 at the earliest. It's a 5 or 6 hour drive from here to Indianapolis, although my buddy drives like a bat out of hell, so hopefully we can get there a little bit sooner than that. But the expo closes at 8, so I'm hoping that number one, that we make it there in time to get our bibs, and number two, I'm worrying about like getting there in time. We may need to pick up some groceries, a little bit of food, just so that we have stuff to eat the following morning, and we got to figure out a place to eat dinner and rest and hydrate and all that other stuff. So like the logistics are difficult for this one. I do appreciate that it's a Saturday race, but that also makes it a little bit hard for us, getting down there. So we've got that we have to contend with. Other than that, the main things that I want to talk about is kind of the weather and nutrition strategy during the race, and pace. So the weather, it's going to be in the mid 30s, so just above freezing, to the high 40s by the time we end the race. It shouldn't be too windy, although I think there's going to be a headwind on the last several miles of the race, but that's okay. It won't be too windy. I have no idea how to dress for this race. I think I'm going to wear shorts no matter what, whether I wear high socks or whether I wear compression calf sleeves. I'm not sure. I'm going to be running in the Vaporfly, the version 1s, the Bass Grays. I also brought tights in case I do want to wear tights with shorts on top of them. I'm also bringing a tank top, a short sleeve, and then a pullover as well. So I'm thinking like if I feel like it's warm enough, I'll wear with a tank top with gloves. What I'd like to do is run in a short sleeve t-shirt and gloves. If it's a little bit colder than that, I'll probably wear the tank top with a pullover on top and race with the pullover and gloves. For hats, I brought a couple of different hats depending on which top I wear, baseball caps, or like a knit cap for the top in case it's really cold. So I'm not sure what I'll be wearing there. I think my ultimate plan is going to be get down there, walk around a little bit, kind of get a feel for what the air is like, and just because like 40 degrees by a lake where I am here is different than 40 degrees by where my buddy lives. It's a little bit further from the lake, even though he's like maybe a mile and a half from the lake. Temperature is very different there versus where we'll be in Indianapolis, so I'll kind of see from there and gauge. We'll have 5 hours to talk about what we're going to wear at the race on the drive down there, so I'll kind of get some input from him too. We'll be staying in the Cultural Trail area. My buddy goes to Indianapolis for work regularly, so I let him. He also likes picking the Airbnb. He likes planning stuff like that. I hate planning stuff like that, so it's a good combo for the two of us. But he also is a little bit more familiar with the area. So we'll be staying there. I think we can walk to the race, so that'll be nice as well. But I'm also, because of that, I'm going to be bringing an extra, like a hoodie and a pair of pants over my shorts that I'm going to wear, and an extra long sleeve. I always bring it. Not always, but I like to bring a disposable layer for a bigger race like this. For the Chicago Marathon, I had like a zip-up hoodie that I had got, a very, very thin one that I had gotten as part of a race. Today, for this marathon, I'm going to bring like a black long sleeve shirt that my wife had picked up for me one time at a Menards. But I have 2 of them. It came in a 2-pack. And so I'm going to bring that, and that way I'll put my hoodie and my long pants, the ones that I've had since track in college, in my gear check bag when it's time to gear check, but then I'll still keep that extra long sleeve layer on top, and then right when it's about time to race, I'll just pitch it to the side. So I'll have a disposable layer. It's unfortunate to have to kind of throw things away, but got to stay warm. So that's something I like to do. Other people like to bring ponchos or like the foil blankets that they get after other races. So a variety of things, but I just really want to stay warm. I don't want to spend a lot of energy shivering. In terms of nutrition, it looks like there aren't going to be any gels on the course. There were for the Chicago Marathon and some of the other races in Chicago that I've seen. I wasn't sure that there would be some here. Looking at the maps, it doesn't look like there are going to be in Indianapolis. So my plan is going to be to bring 5 gels. For Chicago, I brought 4. And I ended up picking up another gel on course, so I had 5 gels total, which is probably a lot, probably more than I need, but I'm still getting used to the marathon distance. I've run 3, and I think that makes me somewhat experienced, but I'm still kind of, my body's getting used to the idea of not having to eat as much, but like being hungry and not having enough in me is like a fear, so I'm like overcorrecting, but this is what feels good to me. So I have 3 Martin gels left, so I'll bring those, and then I'll probably bring 2 other Cliff shots, the ones that have a lot of caffeine in it. So I'll have those. I'll save those for the end stages of the race. I'll have the Martin gels first. Hopefully I only need 4 or just 3, since it's a little bit cooler than it was in Chicago. So we'll see how that goes. My general idea is to have something about every 5 miles, maybe every 6. But I kind of just go by how hungry am I. So I usually find like that first one, I want it around like mile 4.5 or so. And then the second one, I'll have it anywhere between mile 8 and 10. And then after that, it's kind of, who knows? I'll just go by feel. But that's about how many that I'll want to have with me. So that's going to be like the nutrition plan, and then drinking water or Gatorade if it's available on course as I'm going through. That's kind of going to be the plan for that. And ultimately, in terms of pacing, my buddy wants to hit 325, which I think is going to be very doable. When we ran the Chicago half marathon together, it was a 1:37. And so if you kind of do the double your half time plus 10 minutes, that puts us at 324. Right. And so I think 325 is quite doable. I also think that, he's had an extra month of training, and I do think he had more in him than the 137. And so, hopefully this is something we can do. I'd like to line up with a 325 pace group. We talked about it last week, and then, adjust up or down depending how we're feeling, hopefully as late in the game as possible. So like mile 15 or so. Ideally, I want to negative split the race. I like doing that. I think he likes doing that. We did that for the Chicago half. It feels good to me. It's motivating to me to be able to pick off runners at the end. And even if you're not negative splitting, even if you're like just doing an even split, you end up picking off runners at the end of a race because people slow down and get tired. And so, not everyone, but some people do. So that's something that we're kind of planning on doing. Depending on how he's feeling or what he's thinking, we might make that move earlier or later, but I'd like to kind of run at 325. If nothing else, the 2 of us can run at 325, which is about 750 minutes per mile. So I think we can do that. My only X factor in this whole plan is I don't know if there's going to be a pace group that's going to be available to us. And so we think we're going to be in wave 1, and we have our bib numbers and all that, but we think we're going to be in wave 1, but I'm worried that the problem that happened to me at the Chicago Marathon is going to happen to us. And that's because specifically because there's also a half marathon that lines up and runs and starts with the marathoners at Indy, unless I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, someone please let me know in the comments. But because of that, there's going to be a lot of faster runners probably mixed in with us. And if we're in wave 1, even if we go all the way back to wave 1, I worry that there isn't going to be a 325 pace group or like a, what does that come out to? Time-wise, I'm not sure. Like a 1 40 something for a half marathon pace group. So like, I don't want to be in that situation where we have to keep moving back and further back into the corral, just so that way we're not blocking everyone's way as we start the race. I also want to be able to line up with a pace group and start with a pace group, which I wasn't able to do in Chicago. So hopefully we'll be able to do that there. If not, just the two of us will be our own pace group and we'll figure it out. But that's my big concern, that we're going to, like, the only pace group available is going to be 3:15, and then we're just going to be tempted to just go chase them. And if we finish at 3:25, that's still going to be like a 12-minute PR for him. So that'll be a great day if we could do that, especially because he's had a little bit of a rough year with injuries and not getting in quite as many miles as he thought. But we had a really strong half, and I think he's been just demolishing his miles the last month since then. So I'm really excited for this run. We haven't had a chance to actually run together since the Chicago Half Marathon. So it'll be good to get together. I mean, I just saw him last week. He had a Halloween party. All our families got together. But it'll be good to get out there and run with him again. And it'll be a little bit of a guys' weekend because it's just me and him traveling down there. But that's the general race plan. I think I covered all the main bases. If you guys have any other questions, let me know in the comments. But before I go, the last thing I want to do is talk about today's charity runner. On the channel, what I like to do is, I think everyone that's gotten to this point in the video already knows, but spotlight a different charity runner every day and give them at least $5. And then put their links in the description, so that way if any one of you want to also look at what they're running for, you can have that information, and hopefully we can all support each other. But today's charity runner for the day is Jeremy, that tennis guy. He's going to be running a Santa Shuffle 5K later this year and I'm trying to do this without looking at my phone. I always do this every day. I try to memorize all the information before I start turning the camera on, and I usually have to do a cut before it. But he's running for the Salvation Army in Canada, there's two words to it. The second word is Mississauga. I think I said that right. Brampton Mississauga, right? I think I got it. And he's running for that. I think he's over his fundraising limit at this, minimum at this point. But if we can get him up even further, I think that'd be pretty awesome. Jeremy, that tennis guy, is someone who I talk to a lot on Instagram and in the comments. I'm sure if you guys look around, if you're in the comments a lot, you've probably seen his name. So he's a longtime viewer, watches, I think, pretty much all the videos. So it's great to see from you guys, new and old, running for charities and supporting your local community. So I'd love to see that. So check out the link below, and I hope you consider helping him raise money for the Salvation Army in Canada. That's all I have for today. Thanks everybody so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in Indianapolis. I wanted to do that really well. So that's all I have for today. Thanks so much for watching today, guys, and I'll see you guys in Indianapolis.
Yo, what's going on?